starshine lights my way to bed. Magic rainbows glisten in my head. Just like a child I live in Wonderland. All my dreams are coming true.
Hi, and welcome to Handmade by Ditsy Tulip. I'm Mel, and thanks for stopping by. Just dropping in with a really quick video this morning just to give you an update on how I'm getting on with the sequin fabric. First of all, my house is absolutely full of sequins. There's sequins absolutely everywhere. I am trying to work just in the sewing room, but because there's sequins all over the floor, they're getting trodden all through the house. So that's the first thing to be mindful of if sewing with sequins. But I'm going to give you an update on what I'm making and what I'm doing to prepare the fabric. So first of all, thank you to everybody who took the time to comment on the last video with your ideas on what you think would work. The two that were very, very close was the Wixton Haori jacket and the Twiggy dress. I've decided to start with the Wixton jacket because I do just think I'll get way more wear out of that than I will with the dress. But I do have quite a bit of the fabric left over. Now I've cut out the jacket, so I'll show you how much I've got left shortly. And there'll definitely be enough for a skirt. There may be enough to squeeze a dress out of it, with it being a mini dress, but I'm not sure until I start playing around with the pattern placement. So, not got very far yet because preparing the fabric is taking absolutely ages, because I've decided to go for the method where I remove the sequins from the seam allowance, which takes ages. It's not difficult to do at all, but it really does take ages. So for example, to remove the sequins around this front piece of the jacket, I didn't time it exactly, but I'd say it perhaps took about 2 hours, because you're ultimately snipping through each sequin. You can maybe cut through 3 or 4 at once, but you've got to be really careful because you need to make sure that you're just snipping the sequin so that you can pull it off, and you're not snipping the thread, because if you snip the thread you could end up with a whole line of sequins unraveling. So yeah, I decided that I did a bit of research, and some people said that you should remove the sequins from the seam allowance, and others said that you didn't need to. So what I decided to do, a bit of a test, just with a bit of scrap, I stitched it without removing the sequins from the seam allowance, and I just don't like how it's sitting at all. I'll just show you. So on the front, I guess the added benefit of not removing the sequins is that you haven't got any kind of bold patches. But if you look at the back and how bulky that seam is, it's huge. And then even worse, where you've got the stitch line and you've stitched through some of the sequins, it can get quite sharp because the sequins stick out in that direction. But that is just an absolutely huge seam allowance, and I just wouldn't be comfortable with how the garment felt with so much bulk. So yes, it's going to be time consuming, and I think it will involve a lot more work, because then once I've sewn the garment together, I'm sure I'll have some bulb patches around the seam allowance, so I'll then need to hand stitch some sequins back on to cover up those bulb patches. But it'll be worth it in the end, I'm sure, and I'll end up with a beautiful jacket. Give me an idea as well as to what this is going to look like. Not sure how much you'll be able to see on the camera there, but I do think I'm going to really like it as a jacket as well. I think with the chevrons and the nice colours, I think it'll look pretty cool. One thing, I did cut out the pockets, but then I think I've decided, although I absolutely love the pockets on the Wixton, I think I'm going to leave the pockets off, because I think it may deter away from the lovely pattern of the chevrons. The only way I may add pockets is if I've got enough fabric to exactly pattern match the pocket, so there's a pocket there but actually you can't see it, but then that might stop me being able to make something else with the leftovers of the fabric. So I'm going to make the jacket shell up and then see how I feel. This is the back piece, so I'm in the process of removing the sequins from the seam allowance on this one, so you can see I've started on this side, but I've not done this side yet. So I'm probably going to be another couple of days, but I just wanted to show you again. I think it's going to look really nice. The one bit I'm not sure of with the sequin fabric is the collar. So I'm going to need to see, I'm going to make it up and see how it goes. But I may go for a contrast collar. The reason being, the way that it's a wide collar on the Wixton, and then it kind of folds over. And what I'm just a bit concerned about is if the sequins are going to look a little bit odd, how they kind of stick out on the fold. So I'm not sure. I'm going to, as I say, make it up and see. But what I was also thinking is what I could possibly do is do a contrast collar, maybe in a nice velvet, or I was thinking maybe a silk dupion or something like that, so that it's still really special, but it's contrast, and then that may make the rest of the jacket stand out a little bit more as well. Let me know what you think in the comments. Would you go for a sequined collar, or would you perhaps go for a contrast? I will be popping back in with another video once I've got the shell constructed before I've added the collar on, so I'll be able to show you maybe what it will look like. So let me just show you how much of this fabric I've got left. I'm not sure how much you can see, but there's a lot. I'm not sure how much of that you've been able to see, but there's plenty of length left, because I don't know why I've got so much. I mean, I had 3 meters, and the Wixton I think takes, if you look at the pattern, I'll check, but it's about 2.5 meters that asks for, and this isn't very wide fabric. So how I've ended up with so much left, I don't know. But obviously it's not its full width, because that's been had the Wixton cut out on the other side, but there's plenty. I've got a you know, a nice full piece there and plenty of length. So I'm hoping that it'll be enough to make a twiggy dress as well. So I'll keep you posted on that. So that's it. That's all I wanted to share today. I just wanted to give you a quick update on what I'm making and how I'm getting on. Oh, one other thing that I forgot to mention, when I was cutting out the fabric, I didn't work at all on the fold. You need to work with the fabric on the flat, and then just kind of flip your pattern pieces over to cut it out that way. It just, you would end up with the sequins being all out of sync, and it wouldn't lay flat because you wouldn't be able to fold the fabric flat. But yeah, that's it. That was just what I wanted to update you on, and fingers crossed I'll be able to have a jacket and a twiggy dress. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you very soon. Bye. All my dreams are humming. All my